An economist, David Luke, has urged the federal government to ensure reduced cost of capital for manufacturers to boost trade in the country. Luke, a professor of practice and strategic director, Firos Laiji Institute for Africa at the London School of Economics (LSE), said this in Abuja. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that the meeting was organized to summarize the policy-focused book, How Africa Trades.
The main takeaway from this discussion we'll be having, this press conference on the book, How Africa Trades, I would say 3 or 4 points. Number one is the reforms that now being done in Nigeria need to be accompanied very, very quickly with reducing the cost of borrowing. Because if the productive sector is to respond to the new opportunities, the cost of capital needs to be reduced. And this is normal practice when you float a currency. In other countries, we've seen that government has also stepped in very quickly to alleviate the problems, especially in regard to the cost of capital, because that is how businesses can respond to the new opportunities.
According to Luke, the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFTA, is important considering the reforms that are going on in Nigeria.
In regard to the African market, I've been saying that the African Continental Free Trade Area is coming up at the right time for Nigeria with these reforms that are going on. Because essentially, what it does is that it makes Nigerian exports cheaper in the African market, and it also sends that signal that imports into Nigeria are becoming more expensive. So a lot of what is being imported that can be produced locally should be produced as such.
The professor cited instances in other climes where countries had played similar leadership roles like France and Germany in Europe and Singapore, Indonesia in Asia.
But as we all know, the AFCFTA is struggling with implementation, and I've also been saying that Nigerian leadership is needed. Here at developing and thriving, 1 or 2 countries have taken leadership. I mentioned that in the Europe, we've seen France and Germany play that role in terms of leadership in East Asia, in ASEAN. We have seen Singapore and Indonesia do that, and I've been saying that, making the point that Nigeria is in a very good position to take the leadership.
Earlier, Leonard Ostergaard, resident representative, Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, Nigeria, reiterated the role of trade in the development of Nigeria and Africa as a continent. According to him, trade is of high importance if we must achieve the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) in Africa.